Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, the SNP have a problem that they don't know the difference between men and women. And there is a court case going through the Supreme Court as we speak. And in this, they're trying to legally nail down what a man and a woman are for the purposes of the 2010 Equality Act. Basically, what the position is going to be is that when the Act talks about men and women, it regards exclusively biological sex. It isn't talking about whatever sex anyone might want to call themselves or anything like that. It's not about identification. It's not about gender certificates. It's not about that. It's purely your biological sex. But the SNP, of course, are trying to fight this, are still fighting it. It's a lost battle. Alistair Jack wrote it off. There's no way it can happen. But they're still trying to fight this, and they had to make a submission. Now, once they'd made their submission, they tried to lock this down and cover it up and make sure it was kept secret. No one must know what was in there. It's a legal document, blah, blah, blah. But as it turns out, because this is not a case of law and it's not a case of damages or anything like that, it's a submission to alter an existing law. It's therefore deemed in the public interest for this to be released. And the SNP fought it, but of course they're going to lose because they lose every time. And so eventually, having been told that if they don't release it, the Westminster government will, and it'll look even worse for them, they've released it. And twice in this report, they refer to pregnant men. Now, it's clearly ridiculous. Men can't get pregnant. And a woman who calls herself a man is still a woman. You know, you can pick up a fork and call it a spoon, but it's not a spoon, even though you're calling it a spoon. It's a fork. You'll find that out as soon as you try eating your soup with it. And so they've put this in. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that they're ever trying to do this, but they've still got to be pushing this, gender thing. Men can be women if we all pretend. Well, I'm not pretending. Screw you. Anyway, judges at the Supreme Court are doing this hearing, as I say. Now, they're having to work this through and will decide the legal definition of sex, of woman, of man, in law and in the Equality Act 2010, and whether or not a gender recognition certificate is sufficient to change the sex of a person. Well, of course you can't. It doesn't matter what you do. You can shove that certificate right up your fundament. It isn't going to change your sex. It may change what you call yourself, but fundamentally, nothing else has changed. If you're a bloke, you can call yourself Susan, but you've still got a prostate. And anyway, just simply having a gender certificate doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're a woman for the purposes of, say, sport, or the fact that most people don't want you with your gender certificate walking into a ladies' showers, taking your big fat man cock out and showing all the girls going, hey, look at my lady cock, girls. Because that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they will scream, run to the hills, the husbands are running and beat the shite out of these weirdos, which is, of course, the correct thing, I imagine many people would think. Because, you know, they don't want their ladies, their girls, their daughters attacked by men who are desperate to get into ladies' changing rooms, ladies' safe spaces. You have to ask why they're so desperate to do this. Why do they keep fighting? Oh, I must get in there, must get in with the ladies, must get in where ladies are undressing all the time. Seems to be a thing, doesn't it? It's very weird. Now, obviously, it blows a huge hole in the gender reforms, which were blocked by the Tory government, thankfully. And the Labour government have said, with Ian Murray, the Scottish minister, come out and saying he is not going to reverse this. So, you know, don't even hold out any hope. And it basically just says, if this goes through, it stops trans basically having the right to enter women's spaces freely, and it protects women and girls. And that's the main reason for this, is the protection of women and girls. It's very contentious to allow men into these areas, even if they call themselves women. Oh, I am a lady. Look, I've got high heels on and everything. But women-only safe spaces must be protected. And it's just a case of, it's obvious common sense. Now, what these men need is not for the rest of us to pretend and to let them think they're getting away with it, because we know they're not. No, what they need is psychologists or security checks, harsh vetting. Now, not my figures, I keep saying it, not my figures, government figures. Sex offenders, if you are trans, you are 12 times more likely to be imprisoned for a sex offence than if you're not trans. Now, what does that tell you? Well, it tells you you just need to be very, very aware when you see some bloke in a frock. Because there's a reason. And it's not always a good one. Now, they had this thing. It's a 40-page, big 40-page document that they use. This is what the SNP put in. 40 pages of absolute bullshit of why men should be treated as women and why gender certificates are the way forward when it comes to having women basically abused. Now, we've reported yesterday about British Transport Police allowing men to strip search women. So, I mean, that seems to be a weird thing. But that wouldn't happen if this law goes through. And so if the law goes through, the British Transport Police can't allow their men to strip search women any longer, even with a certificate, much to the relief, I think, of many, many women. Because even women who are committing crime still don't need to be basically sexually abused by the state. Interesting point if you think otherwise. Someone identifies a man who's pregnant. No, sorry, you're a woman. If you identify as a man, you want to be a man, then you can get the hell out of a maternity ward. But I'm having a baby. You can't. You're a man. You identify as a man. And men don't have babies, so please leave. And then all of a sudden, once that baby's head starts showing and it's crowning, let me tell you, I'm a woman, I'm a woman. All of a sudden. It's amazing, isn't it? Oh, doctor, I think I've got ovarian cancer. Oh, but you're a man, you can't have. You know, oh, I'm a lady now. Yeah, of course you are, love. Because this is what it is. They have it in their mind until the reality bites. And reality is a very harsh mistress. And it's the same with the blokes, you know. I'm a lady, you know. Call me Felicity. Yes, well, Felicity, you've got prostate cancer. But I can't have. No, all right, then sod off, love. You can't have prostate cancer. Away you go. And then when they drive prostate cancer, you know, they'll be thinking, oh, I was stupid, wasn't I? If only I told the doctor I was a bloke, he'd have known what to look for. Reality, eh? I just love reality with these people. But the worst of it is they can't handle reality, and that's why they need us to join in and go, I'm a lady and you've got to pretend it too. What if I don't want to? Then you're a bigot. And so they're controlling your speech. And that's fascism. And that's what they are, the trans fascists, surrounded by them. Anyway, there we go. Interesting topic, interesting thing. When the judges finally decide this, we will have a definition of what a woman is. We can send it to number 10. Keir Starmer can study it and see if he agrees. And of course, then, hopefully, if it comes on the right side, women can be protected in all aspects of life and not expect hairy-ass men to turn up in a frock, bit of Libby, call themselves Susan and go, can I see your tits? Thanks very much. Bye.